Welcome to the province of 100 Islands and 100 Flavors, Pangasinan. Pangasinan is the third biggest province in the whole Philippine archipelago that derives its name from the salt or asin in the vernacular. Owing to the rich and lined salt beds, which were the prime source of livelihood for the province's coastal towns, Panag-Asinan or Pangasinan, which means where salt is made. Owing to its diverse cultural heritage rooted in centuries of glorious history and a way of life that is a delightful combination of tradition, innovation, and creativity, the warm, polite, hospitable, and hard-working and fun-loving 2.95 million Pangasinenses enjoy the best of provincial Philippines, where you find both the familiar and unfamiliar world, or breeze with modern technological times but with a preserved vast panorama of outstanding natural beauty and unique attraction. Pangasinan boasts of stretches of white sandy beaches, verdant hills, scenic terrains, caves, waterfalls, ancient Hispanic churches, miraculous destinations for devotees, a vast coastline for fishing, water sports, or leisurely walking along the Lingayen Beach, where one can get a glimpse of the world-famous Philippine sunset. Pangasinan has a vision to make its province number one. The dawning of the golden age for Pangasinan has reintroduced the prominence of the province in national and regional award-giving bodies. It has likewise repositioned Pangasinan as one among the top provinces in the country whose good practices in terms of developmental governance are worth emulating. Among the more illustrious recognitions and awards given to Pangasinan recently are the following Hall of Fame awards, such as Seal of Good Local Governance that is conferred by the Department of the Interior and Local Government, Quality Corn Achievers Award that is conferred by the Department of Agriculture for 3 consecutive years. And also they have Agri-Pinoy Rice Achievers Award that is conferred by the Department of Agriculture, being the champion from 2012 to 2014 conferred by the Regional Development Council for 3 consecutive years, champion in Region 1. When it comes to the locals' livelihood, Pangasinan is rooted to the earth. Agriculture-based production remains as a major source of income for the majority of the populace. Aquaculture is also popular in areas where instead of farmlands, varied squares of artificial ponds for fish rearing are found. Through the years, as the demand for particular fish stocks rose and fell, fish pond owners have adopted by sticking to traditionally favored and stable growing fish species like the bangus or milkfish, the malaga, and prawns. With agriculture currently mobilizing more than half of the local labor force, the current administration has seen the need to boost its effort in this area. Let's take a look in the Pangasinan geographic location. Pangasinan is a crescent-shaped province that occupies 5,368.82 square kilometers of verdant farmlands, hills, forests, and rivers. To the east, it is bounded by the mighty Cordillera Mountains, the Zambales Ranges to the west, the rice plains of Tarlac to the south, and the Lingayen Gulf and China Sea to the north. Because of this strategic geographical positioning, it has always been described as a gateway of sorts. Most travelers going up north often remember Pangasinan as the place where they had the last seen some semblance of civilization, comparing it with the sparsely populated regions of the Ilocos and the Cagayan Valley. Next up to is the distance from Manila to Pangasinan. Pangasinan is located nearly south side to Manila. The total straight line distance between Manila and Pangasinan is 155 kilometers and 938.18 meters. The miles-based distance from Manila to Pangasinan is 96.9 miles. This is a straight line distance, and so most of the time the actual travel distance between Manila and Pangasinan may be higher or vary due to curvature of the road. Moving on to the humble beginnings of Pangasinan, Pangasinan was among the earliest political and administrative units in the Philippines. It was officially conquered and colonized by D. Martin de Goiti in 1571. On the 5th day of April 1572, Pangasinan was made an encomienda by the Spanish royal crown to receive instruction on the Catholic faith, which means that Pangasinan was organized under one leadership and has identity before the Spanish royal court. 8 years later, in 1580, Pangasinan was organized into a political unit under an alcalde mayor who at that time has authority as head of the province or provincial government with judicial function, indicating that Pangasinan has become a province. To commemorate the day when Pangasinan became an encomienda and the year it became a province, Pangasinan celebrates April 5, 1580 as the official founding day of the province of Pangasinan. At that time, its territorial jurisdiction included the province of Zambales and parts of La Union and Tarlac. By the middle of the 19th century, however, the northern towns of Agoo to Bacnotan were separated from the province and became parts of La Union. The provincial territory was further diminished in 1875 with the annexation of Paniqui and the other towns south of it to Tarlac. During the pre-Spanish period, ancient Malayo-Polynesians of the Austronesian stock arrived by boat and established settlements along Lingayen Gulf. They are proficient in salt making, so they call their new home Pangasinan, which means the place where salt is made. This refers to the coastal area only, while the inner areas are collectively called Kabuluan, because the small bamboo species called bolo abound there. The inhabitants of Pangasinan traded with India, China, and Japan as early as the 8th century AD. In 1572, Juan de Salcedo, upon the orders of his grandfather Governor General Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, to explore and pacify northern Luzon, reaches Pangasinan. A Spanish priest historian Fray Juan Ferrando calls Salcedo the first discoverer of Pangasinan. The province is now under the jurisdiction of Spain as an encomienda since April 5. In 1574 to 1575, the Chinese corsair Limahong, after being repulsed by the Spaniards in his bid to found a colony in Manila, goes to Pangasinan and establishes his little kingdom within a fort in Lingayen. His party is composed of men, women, and children. He forces the natives to cooperate with him by supplying him provisions and serving him and his people. Juan de Salcedo pursues him, and after months of blockade, Limahong and his forces escape in August 1575 through a channel that they dug out into the China Sea. Many of his men with their families choose to stay behind in Lingayen. Until the year of 1580, where Pangasinan is organized as an alcalde mayor, a politico-civil administrative unit or province, by Governor General Gonzalo Ronquillo de Peñalosa, and receives its first alcalde mayor in the person of Don Pedro Manrique. In the year of 1611, the province of Pangasinan territorial limits are set by the superior government, thus completing the requisites for a viable political subdivision, a defined territory, a set of administrators, and law-abiding subjects. The province as constituted now include all the coastal villages called Pangasinan, and the inner areas called Kabuluan. The boundaries are from San Juan, now in La Union, in the north, to the foothills of the Cordillera and Caraballo Mountains in the northeast and east, to Paniqui in the south, to the present area of Sual town in the west, plus the area that is the present-day Zambales. Until the Malong Revolt started in 1660, Andres Malong of Pinalatongan leads the revolt of the Filipinos against the Spaniards. They were encouraged by the short takeover of Manila by the Dutch. He declares himself as Ari, but their declaration of independence is short-lived as they are subdued by the Spaniards in less than a month. Next is the Polaris Revolt in the year of 1762, where Juan de la Cruz Polaris, also of Pinalatongan, leads his people to complain to the Spaniards about paying tributes. Encouraged by the defeat of the Spanish army and capture of Manila by the British, they go on to make more demands and drive away all the Spaniards from the capital town of Lingayen. For 2 years, the rebels and their supporters in the province taste freedom and power over the Spanish government, but the capture of Polaris ends the rebellion. To forget this sad episode, the Spanish officials give the town Binalatongan its new name is San Carlos in honor of Spain's reigning monarch, Charles III. The Casa Real or Royal House is constructed in Lingayen on the year of 1840, wherein it is a 1,700 square meters building of stone masonry and bricks. It is the provincial seat of government where the Alcalde Mayor resides and holds office. It would be the venue of many historic events in Pangasinan and was used as the Juzgado later on. During 1855, the Spanish government opened Sual as an official port of foreign trade. Rice is exported to China and Macau from this port. It is also one of the country's centers for shipbuilding together with Labrador, Lingayen, and Dagupan. On the 27th day of December 1897, General Emilio Aguinaldo, accompanied by Spanish Governor General Primo de Rivera and others, takes the train to the Dagupan terminal and travels on to Sual to board the SS Uranus that is to bring him to exile in Hong Kong to comply with the Pact of Biak na Bato. Almost a year passed when Pangasinan is liberated from Spanish rule that is dated on July 22, 1898. The local board of Katipunan that was organized by General Francisco Macabulos of Central Luzon 4 months earlier and led by Don Daniel Maramba of Santa Barbara, Vicente del Prado of San Jacinto, Juan Quesada and Eliseo Arzadon of Dagupan defeat the Spanish forces, making a last stand in Dagupan. Thereupon, they reenact the proclamation of independence done at Kawit 40 days earlier. On the 5th day of February 1899, a day after the start of hostilities of the Philippine-American War, President Aguinaldo directs Pangasinan Governor Quesada to transfer the provincial capital to San Carlos to protect the province from the threat of a coastal invasion by the Americans, as Lingayen is located right by the Gulf. San Carlos thus served as the capital of the province from this day until the fall of the Republican forces in Pangasinan in November of the same year. On the same year, in the month of August, in a barrio in Bayambang, Jose Palma, a staff member of the revolutionary government's newspaper La Independencia, writes a poem that becomes the lyrics for the melody of La Marcha Nacional Filipina, composed by Julian Felipe. This poem is translated later to Filipino and given the title Lupang Hinirang, which is now the Philippine national anthem. It was written in the house of Doña Romana Gibrida de Fabis. This house is served as the Malacanang of the Aguinaldo Republic momentarily in November 1899. The said barrio is now part of Bautista, Pangasinan. On the early November 1899, the Philippine-American War reaches Pangasinan. General Emilio Aguinaldo, the President of the First Philippine Republic, transfers the seat of his government to Bayambang, and it momentarily becomes the capital of the Republic. The Council of Government also convenes for the last time in Bayambang, in which meeting it was finally decided to disband the army and resort instead to guerrilla warfare. The formal workings of the central government of the First Philippine Republic thus ended in Bayambang. Next up to is that on November 20, 1899, General MacArthur and General Lawton's columns successfully linked up with General Wheaton's in Dagupan, marking the end of overt warfare in Pangasinan and completing the American conquest of the province. Shortly, military administrators are installed. On the 16th day of February 1901, the Taft Commission organizes Pangasinan as a civil province in General Assembly in Dagupan. Don Perfecto Season of Lingayen is appointed governor and Lingayen is chosen over Dagupan to remain as the capital because the Casa Real is located there. Judge Taft and his commissioners were given a grand reception at the Casa Real. After a long time, the first public secondary school in Pangasinan is opened in Lingayen with some of the U.S. Thomasites as educators in the year of September 1902. The Pangasinan Academic High School is the sole public secondary school in Pangasinan until 1946. Now named the Pangasinan National High School, it has produced many of the most successful personages in the province. In February 10 to 19, 1919, Governor Daniel Maramba leads the inaugural festivities for the new capital. The revelry features an agricultural and industrial fair, a carnival parades and grand coronation ball with as a queen and her court. American Ralph Lauren designed this neoclassical building. World War II comes to Pangasinan on December 22, 1941. Bitter fighting between the United States Armed Forces in the Far East and the Japanese Army rages around the towns of Posorobio, Binalonan, and Tayug. In due course, the United States Armed Forces in the Far East retreat to Bataan, and the Japanese military takes control of Pangasinan, and the two-year Japanese invasion starts. This brought enormous hardships to the people. On January 20, 1942, it is now being necessary to cooperate with the occupation forces through the Japanese military administration. Dr. Santiago Estrada, who earlier evacuated the provincial office to Tayug, governs and reorganizes the provincial government in order to help in the restoration of peace and order to work for the welfare of the people. Dagupan is chosen as the provincial capital of the new Japanese-sponsored national government. January 9 to 13, 1945 is when the Allied forces with the United States 6th Army under General Walter Kruger lands unopposed on the beaches of Lingayen, Binmalay, Dagupan, Mangaldan, and San Fabian, effecting the start of the liberation of Pangasinan. 4 days later, General Douglas MacArthur came ashore right behind the ruined Capitol building. He also landed in Dagupan and set up his Luzon headquarters there. On February 1945, the Americans through the Philippine Civil Affairs Unit re-established the provincial government and installed Sofronio Quinzon as governor, while retaining the wartime capital of Dagupan as such. And on the same year, on the month of June 1945, the provincial capital is moved back to Lingayen. Through the Philippine Rehabilitation Act, the U.S. government assists the provincial government under Governor Enrique Braganza in reconstructing damaged buildings, including the Capitol building in the year of 1946. Until 1953, when Governor Juan de Guzman Rodriguez undertakes the construction of the governor's official residence and guest house. It is named Princess Orduha Palace after the legendary 14th century Amazon leader in pre-colonial Pangasinan. To play fast forward on the year of June 30, 1992, a full-blooded Pangasinense Fidel V. Ramos becomes President of the Republic of the Philippines. Among his many achievements that benefits Pangasinan today was attracting foreign investors to put up the Sual power plant to ease the power crisis before and during his term, and the San Roque Dam. The San Roque Multipurpose Project or SRMP in San Manuel and San Nicolas was built in the year of 1998 to harness the power of the country's third largest river, the Agno River, bringing these benefits to several communities in the heart of Luzon. If operated and maintained properly, flood control, irrigation, electrical power, and improved water quality. In October 1999, the Sual power plant in Sual started operating. With Pangasinan as the host province, this is the largest and most effective coal-fired power plant in the Philippines, servicing the Luzon grid with a generating capacity of 1,218 megawatts. The company has energy conversion agreement with the National Power Corporation with a 25-year build, operate, transfer scheme. Until the second half of 2007 came, this marks the commencement of significant changes in the physical appearance and systematic clustering of provincial government buildings, parks, hospitals, and satellite offices. The intensive rehabilitation and repair of the provincial capitol building gained national fame and recognition upon its completion in 2008, earning for it the title Best Provincial Capital in the Philippines, simultaneous to the renovation of the physical infrastructure of the province. Human resource improvement was implemented through programs which resulted to the restoration of dignity, self-respect, and professionalism of provincial government employees as working force partners in Pangasinan's development. It was during this term of Governor Amado T. Espino Jr. that the founding day of Pangasinan was established, celebrating its 430th founding anniversary for the first time on April 5, 2010. Pangasinan's golden age took off from this year, which saw numerous investments flowing into the province. Significant development projects mushrooming in every corner, local, national, and international linkages being established, all for Pangasinan's progress and advancement, and finally breaking ground on a period where Pangasinenses proudly claim that their province is the best place to invest, live, work, and raise a family. And finally, on the year of 2016, the golden age of Pangasinan developed even more as then Pangasinan Governor Amado T. Espino Jr. passed the leadership to his son Governor Amado Espino III, propelled by his sensibility to serve the whole province of Pangasinan in the same excellent fashion as that of his father, the former Governor Amado T. Espino Jr. Governor Amado Espino III Ranu was the elected governor of the province of Pangasinan in the May 9, 2016 elections. He was re-elected as the provincial executive in the recent May 13, 2019 elections. Truly quality leadership is easily discoverable by tangibly achieving the desired goals with excellence and by exemplifying the virtues of compassion, humility, integrity, and dedication. If you're looking for a quick and relaxing getaway, you should consider going on one of the many Pangasinan tours. The province is relatively accessible from anywhere in the country and offers many attractions and activities for any traveler. Those who want to commune with nature can find some of the most beautiful natural wonders and mountains near Manila, while those who want to unwind can do so in any of its many breathtaking beaches. A lot of the attractions you can find here are also family, couple, solo traveler friendly, so you don't need to worry about whoever you're traveling with. Pangasinan is home to many natural wonders, including caves, waterfalls, mountains, hills, and of course its famous white sand beaches. The province coast is not only an attraction but also a source of livelihood for those who farm salt from its rich salt beds. Here are some of the top tourist spots in Pangasinan that you should not miss. The first one is Tayug Sunflower Eco Park, located in Barangay Licauco in Tayug. The Tayug Sunflower Eco Park is a haven for those who can't get enough of flowers. Like its name suggests, the park is home to thousands of flowers, but they're not all sunflowers. Here, you can also find beds of marigold, petunia, and celosia, as well as other ornamental plants. There are also different kinds of vegetables in the park, which you can pick and harvest on your own for a fee. The next one is Bolino Falls. Bolino Falls is made up of 3 waterfalls, Bolino Falls 1, 2, and 3. But don't let the names fool you. They may not sound spectacular, but they're actually some of the top Pangasinan tourist spots. Along with Pator Beach, the 3 falls located in Barangay Samang Norte along Bolinao River are the most visited places in Bolinao. While the falls are accessible via car and don't require much walking, the roads going there can be rough, so be prepared for a bumpy ride. All 3 falls are breathtaking, but they have varying heights, and the tallest is Bolinao Falls 1. Coupled with its turquoise waters, the fall's elevation makes it the ideal spot for cliff diving. Bolinao Falls 2 is more suited for swimming and has a pool with varying depth, including shallow spots for children. Tourists also spend more time here when joining a Bolinao Falls tour, as there are cottages that visitors can rent and spend the day at. The last waterfall, Bolinao Falls 3, usually has fewer people, so it's perfect if you're seeking a more peaceful experience. The next one is Lingayen Beach. Lingayen Beach is most known as the spot where American General Douglas MacArthur landed in 1945 during World War II. It is also famous for its powdery sands, refreshing waters, and overall chill vibe. Located in the municipality of Lingayen, the capital of the province, this Pangasinan Beach is a popular summer destination for Filipinos seeking to relax, unwind, swim, and take in the cool breeze from the ocean. Many restaurants along the beach also serve freshly grilled seafood. It's also the best place for you to sample Lingayen Bagoong, a fish paste that the municipality is known for. Adrenaline junkies will also enjoy their time off Lingayen Beach, as you can take an all-terrain vehicle drive along the shore during weekends. You can stay at the many resorts along the beach, or if you want to rough it, you can pitch your tent on the camping grounds. The next one is Minor Basilica of Our Lady of the Rosary of Manaoag. Pictures of the Minor Basilica of Our Lady of the Rosary of Manaoag don't do it justice at all. You might think it's just like many of the grand churches you can find all over the Philippines, but one of the things that makes this church in Manaoag special is its declaration as a minor basilica in 2015. This recognizes the church history and architectural value. It is also a canonical affiliate of the Papal Basilica of Saint Mary Major in Rome. Built in 1605, the church has seen millions of devotees and thousands of religious folk still make a pilgrimage to Manaoag every year, especially during the Holy Week. The image of Our Lady of the Rosary of Manaoag, which many Catholics believe to be miraculous, can also be found here. It's also one of the stops when you join a Pangasinan pilgrimage tour. You don't need to be religious to appreciate the beauty of the building and the surrounding areas. The church itself is located on the top of a hill, and its facade is very picturesque, while the interior features interesting religious paintings. The next one is 100 Islands National Park. The Pangasinan 100 Island National Park in Alaminos is the top Pangasinan destination for locals and international travelers alike. The protected area boasts of 123 islets scattered across Lingayen Gulf. Each islet is uniquely shaped and believed to have been formed millions of years ago, making the view of them even more special and rare. Some of the islands have white and sand beaches, while some feature limestone cliffs. The best way to enjoy the islands is to book a 100 Islands hopping tour to take you to some of the main islands, including the three of the most popular, Quezon Island, Governor's Island, and Children's Island. There's also a 100 Islands tour from Manila if you want a quick but hassle-free day tour. Named after President Manuel L. Quezon, Quezon Island is one of the more developed islands in the park, as it has camping and picnic grounds as well as small stores where you can buy food from. Governor's Island is home to a cave you can explore as well as a viewing deck. As its name suggests, Children's Island is kid-friendly with its shallow waters and a calm beach. Moving on to delicacies of Pangasinan, with every travel plan, food eventually finds its way into the discussion. Food, after all, is the reward we all get after a day's worth of sightseeing and fun activities. Also, trying out food from different places is an exciting and satisfying activity. In the province of Pangasinan, food is diverse and delicious, as a result of the different topography and culture of its regions. With a wide variety of food choices to choose from, it can get overwhelming to plan out what you're eating on your Pangasinan trip. Here are some of famous delicacies that you can try on your Pangasinan trip. The first one is pigar-pigar. Pigar-pigar is thin beef slices sauteed in onions and cabbage. It is a popular pulutan in Dagupan City, Pangasinan. Next is puto kalasyaw. Puto is a steamed rice cake and it's a famous kakanin in Pangasinan. It's usually white, but flavors such as pandan, ube, and strawberry have been added to this traditional Filipino kakanin. In fact, puto kalasyaw is considered to be its own specific recipe of puto. Kalasyaw is a small town in Pangasinan. Puto kalasyaw refers to the special puto that is produced in this town. The next one is Alaminos longanisa. Longanisa is the Filipino version of sausage. There are a lot of variations of longanisa all over the country. They usually vary in fat to meat ratio, a combination of meat cuts as well as the seasonings that marinate the meat. For the famous Festival of Pangasinan, Bangus Festival is celebrated annually in Dagupan City in Pangasinan, which is known as the Bangus capital of the Philippines. The festival features the ever-famous Bangusin or Bangus cuisine, which is the main highlight of the event. Street dancing where locals wear colorful Bangus Festival costume, Bangus grilling, deboning, variety shows, trade fairs, beauty pageants, sports fest, cooking show, medical mission, visual arts, band concerts, sports activities, dog show, fluvial parade, drum and larp parade, and street party. If you'd ask where the Bangus Festival place is, many Filipinos would already know the answer as there is only one place in the country that is known to have the tastiest bangus, Dagupan. You can trace the Bangus Festival history back to 2002 when it all started. It was then Mayor Benjamin Lim who initiated this kind of festival to promote Dagupan's most precious gem, bangus or milkfish. And 1 year later, they were recognized Kalutan Dalan by the Guinness Book of World Records as the longest barbecue of the world. Since then, Dagupan has been celebrating this festivity yearly in the month of April. In fact, because it is a big event, many media entities not just from the Philippines but across the world are covering this annual event in Dagupan. To share some trivia about Pangasinan, did you know that the first train outside Manila, the railway officially opened on November 24, 1892, that its route is from Dagupan City to Tutuban in Manila. The railway is no longer functioning, but anybody can still see its remains in Tutuban. Second, Pangasinan's name was derived from the word asin. They are the larger producer of salt in the Philippines. But it was during the Spanish occupation when people called the place Panag-asinan or a place of salt making. For the last one, did you know that the Philippine national anthem lyrics was written in Pangasinan? The lyrics was originally a poem entitled Filipinas, was written in Spanish by Jose Palma in Bautista, Pangasinan. If you give it a chance, Pangasinan will make you fall in love with traveling all over again. So come and let's see the fun in Pangasinan.